Greetings traders and welcome back. Thank you for joining me again as we dive into another in-depth with Chris episode. Today's subject will be the Aroon Indicator. It's a fun word to say, but it's even more fun to use. It's a technical analysis based indicator that lets us know when we are witnessing a strong uptrend or strong downtrend, and can even indicate potential reversals in the market. So it has a lot of value and it's worth being aware of, or at least adding it to our trading arsenal. But before we go any further, let's show you how you can apply the indicator to your charts, and then we'll come back to it a little bit later on to show you some of the settings that are involved with it. But to get to it, we're going to go to the Show Indicators Options button here in the top center. We're going to add a new section like we know how to do in the bottom right. And after we have our section 2, we're going to click Aroon, which is right near the top because it starts with an A, and then we are good to go. We'll close on out of that. I'll adjust it down just a little bit lower, and we're all set. So without further ado, let's dive on into it. As we mentioned, the Aroon Indicator is a technical analysis indicator, which means it could be very beneficial to you if you are planning on passing the Gauntlet Mini. Tushar Chande invented it in 1995, and it literally means dawn in Sanskrit. It essentially looks to detect the beginning of a trend or a change in the trend as is captured by the name. The indicator itself consists of two lines. We have an Aroon up line and we have an Aroon down line. The up line is determining the number of periods away we are from a high in the corresponding 14-period time frame. Now when we say 14 period, that's because the default setting is to 14 periods, as you'll see on most platforms. The down line measures the number of periods we are away from a low. So in short, the up line and the down line give us an idea of how long it's been since the last high or the last low of significance. When we take a look at the Aroon indicator on the chart, it's relatively simple to look at, so it makes it a lot easier to analyze than some of the other more busy indicators out there. It's just two lines that seem to cross back and forth over each other, changing from an extreme of 100 to 0 on the bottom of a graph. Now, what these lines are doing is they're displaying a 14-period measurement, giving us an idea of when the last high and low was in relation to each other. So, with the blue line, we have an Aroon up line. Now the colors are going to be specific to whatever platform you're using and to whatever you set them to yourself. In this case, the blue line does represent my Aroon up line, but the orange line is going to represent my Aroon down line. And these little white circles are going to represent my poor attempt to draw a circle. And what we have here is, once again, a visual display of how long it's been since the market has set a new high or a new low. So this gives us an idea by looking at this section alone whether the market is trending strongly or whether it is not trending strongly, or perhaps whether it's changing hands when these lines are crossing. As we mentioned, the Aroon is measuring how long it's been since the last high or low for the current period being analyzed. The up and down values are expressed in percentages like we discussed, where it's going to range from 100 at the top end to 0 at the bottom end. So as the Aroon up line works its way to the top end, that would be a strong bullish indication, especially when it's coupled with the Aroon down line being down near the 0%. So our strongest bullish scenario is going to be when we have an Aroon upline near 100% and we have an Aroon downline at the same time down near 0%. That indicates strong bullish momentum without much bearish momentum, more or less. If we were to inverse this scenario and we wanted to look at a strong bearish trend, well then we would want the Aroon upline to be down near 0%, while the Aroon downline is then up near 100%. The equation for how these lines are calculated is relatively simple and has been laid out here for you guys. So for the Aroon upline, it's going to be equal to parentheses, 20 minus the number of days since the 20-day high, representing the period being analyzed. So this is a lot of words that makes the equation look a lot harder than it is, but really this whole thing is just one thing, and you'll see here when we give you an example in just a moment. And then after this, it is going to be 100 divided by 20, as you can see here on the end. The Aroon downline is going to be 20 minus the number of days since the 20-day low instead of the high like we had up here. And then we're going to do the same thing at the end where we have 100, we're going to multiply by 100 over 20. Now, if we wanted to calculate the Aroon up value for today, and we were analyzing the last 20 days, we need to determine the time when price was the highest. If that was 2 days ago, for example, then our equation would look like this. We would have Aroon up, and it would then be the 20 minus 2, because it had been 2 days ago, and that would be the end of the parentheses, and we don't need to worry about any more of this, and we would just accelerate ourselves to the end, where outside the parentheses we have 100 over 20. So relatively simple. So it is not the most difficult math in the world, but once again, it is a beautiful thing because the indicator is going to be doing this for us. This is just to understand where it's coming from. Using the Aroon is relatively simple and can be broken out into two main categories, with a third tidbit of information that it kind of provides as well. The first category is going to be just paying attention to the crosses that the Aroon is providing us. That means if we look at something like right here on the chart, where the Aroon upline in this case, which is our blue line on this image, our blue line crossed above our orange line. You see how the orange line was actually up, which is our downline. It was above the blue, then came down, crossed below as the Aroon upline crossed above it, working its way higher. So basically, they just changed hands. The lines crossed over themselves. Well, if the blue line, which is the upline, if the upline is crossing above the downline, that in and of itself is a bullish trigger. The lower the downline goes, the less resistance we can think that the market is going to have to our bullish move. And the higher the upline goes, the more power our bullish move has. So when we look at this cross, if we follow it directly up, we can see that during this period in the market, we began a powerful bullish run. So we had a nice bullish activity here. We had nice bullish activity after the cross occurred. And this is just the simple concept behind paying attention to the Aroon lines. Obviously, we would like to use price action in conjunction with this, but this can provide very easy ideas as to where we may be interested in buying or selling in the market. If we were to be selling in the market, then we just want to see it happen the other way around like we had happen here. So we had the Aroon downline and the Aroon upline cross again, but this time the Aroon upline is going below the Aroon downline, and the Aroon downline is going well up here to the 100% mark, indicating a strong bearish trend with little fight at this point from the buyers as the Aroon upline reaches 0. So if we follow this up, we can see that we had a very powerful bearish move after this bearish cross. And there is a third tidbit of information, like I mentioned, that can be pulled from the Aroon, and that is maybe times when we probably shouldn't be trading, and that is when these lines run parallel to each other like we had happen here. This is a case when they're not intersecting, but they're both falling. When both of the lines are falling and they're running parallel to each other, this usually is occurring in a time where the market is in a consolidation phase and not a lot is happening for one direction or the other. And as a trader, what we want ideally is the market to move. Whether it's in one direction or the other, we need that movement. So we usually don't prefer times where the market goes straight sideways. So there are three main advantages that you could take away from using the Aroon. The fact that it's easy to comprehend is a big one. If we understand what we are doing, chances are we're going to find a higher degree of success with it and a lower degree of incorrect mistakes along the way. We won't have as many blunders if we know what we're doing. And number two is going to be that it effectively signals change in trends. This has been the general consensus of the trading community for some time, and it's why the Aroon has stayed in the default indicator package of many trading platforms out there. It is a very powerful indicator that is well respected. And number 3 is the flexibility in choosing the interval. This means that we can change it from the default setting of 14 to whatever we want. It's actually very common to see traders switch it to a 20 or 25 period as well, and I strongly recommend getting to know the indicator and using it a little bit before you start changing the settings around. But the ability is there, and that is definitely an advantage. That means we can adjust it as we see fit for the conditions that we're currently analyzing. As far as some potential limitations that might be associated with the indicator, we have the fact that it is a lagging indicator. This means that it is behind current price, and as such, we could be getting into price a little bit delayed and missing out on a perfect entry due to this lagging nature. Number 2 for a potential limitation is that it's influenced more by time than price movements. It's influenced more by time than price movements because it depends only how long ago that last high or low was witnessed. The indicator does not provide any information on the magnitude of that particular change. Then we have number 3, which is it should be used in conjunction with other indicators, and this one is just kind of a common sense one as well. We want to make sure that we're always double checking ourselves. We don't want to just get in blindly with one source of information regardless of where that source of information is coming from, and this does apply to the Aroon as well. Now for some frequently asked questions to save you some of the Googling that you may come to as you develop these questions. The first one is, does the Aroon indicator work? Which is the most commonly asked question about the Aroon indicator of all because people want to know if it's worth their time. The short answer is yes. It's considered to be a reliable indicator in regards to tracking price trends of whatever asset it is that we are measuring. It may not catch the trend immediately, but overall the results do tend to be pretty darn reliable. And number 2 is how accurate is it? And this kind of ties into number 1 to a degree, but it's going to be dependent on the trader interpreting the information, of course. The overall information is relatively easy to interpret, so I would say that overall it is beginner friendly, but the degree of accuracy found is going to be important with how we couple the information we're receiving from the indicator with outside information to help confirm that we are getting a good read. That means using price action or something like the Aroon oscillator, which is an extension of the Aroon indicator, can help us keep that accuracy level as high as possible. Number 3 is going to be, what does the Aroon indicator measure? Well, the Aroon indicator measures how recently there was a high or low, depending on whatever time frame that we choose. The Aroon lines can be used to determine if there's an active trend or whether we're just seeing a potential reversal in the trend. These lines can also signal to us whether there is a price consolidation taking place if we see those lines run parallel to each other while they drop, like we talked about. And then number 4 is, can it be used with other forms of analysis? And the answer is absolutely yes, and we strongly encourage that you do this. Other forms of analysis can always be used to help filter and add external layers of confirmation to whatever it is that we're trading with. So this, in my opinion, is always a good thing. We don't want to add so much so that we kind of cluster up our charts and actually miss out on a lot of information or provide ourselves a situational requirement that is just so difficult to reach we never get any trades. But adding another form of analysis to the Aroon, like the Aroon oscillator, is always a great idea. As promised, let's take a look at how to navigate to the settings of the Aroon indicator. That way, if you're not a fan of the orange or blue lines that are default on the Finamark platform, you can change them for yourself as well, or perhaps even change the period from the default 14 period portion that the Aroon is measuring. So if we want to do that, we're going to assume that the indicator is already applied because we showed you how to do that at the beginning of the video. We're just going to make sure that we have the Aroon highlighted over here. Once we have the Aroon highlighted, we need to come over here to where this cogwheel is. When we click on the cogwheel, it's going to open up the settings tab, which doesn't have a whole lot going on. There's really not a whole lot we have the ability to change because the Aroon is relatively simple. We have a period option where we can change it from the default 14 period if we so choose. And then we have the Aroon up, which is currently set to blue. I can shift this to any color on the color spectrum. Or the Aroon downline, same thing. If I don't like this orangey peach color, I can change that as well. I'm not going to do any of that today, so I'm going to go ahead and close out. But after you change any of this, make sure you hit this blue save button. But overall, In conclusion, the Aroon is something that can definitely help in the passing of the Gauntlet Mini because it can help identify those strong trends, letting us know when there's not a whole lot of bearish pressure during a strong bullish trend. And I strongly recommend you check it out or play around with it to see if it's right for you. But thank you for joining me again as always, folks. Until next time, please make sure you smash that like and subscribe button for me because it helps me out a great deal, so I would appreciate it. But I will see y'all soon. Happy trading, everybody. Over and out. Bzz.